Today we're going to do a flexibility routine for the anterior chain. That means the front of your body. We're going to cover your quads, your hip flexors, your chest, the front of your shoulder, and even a little bit down the bicep. We're going to mix in dynamic stretches. That means with movement, with static stretches. That's where we hold the stretch and let the muscle relax. This is a follow along routine. All you need is a mat for this. Let's get right into it. So if you can start in a kneeling position, if you need a cushion under your knee here, or maybe even behind your legs there, that's fine. What we're going to do, we're going to lean back. I want you to bridge up. As you bridge, I want you to reach one hand up and over. And then as you return, sink the hips back down. We're going to reach to the other side. We're going to do about 5 per side. So you're going to bridge up, squeeze the glutes, reach up, look over one shoulder, sit back down. So we're getting the quads and the hips stretched out here, but also just opening that upper back and lats out slightly as well, because why not? But mainly we're focusing on this hip bridge, squeezing the glutes together. We're trying not to necessarily overarch the lower back, but if you're keeping that glute tension, that should avoid that. Let's do one more per side. Okay, I want you to return both hands back behind you if you can. If you need to prop them up on some yoga blocks, that's fine as well. What we're going to do, we're just going to lift, squeeze the glutes up. I'm quite tight down here today. And then we're going to tuck the ribs down slightly. So we're drawing the top 2 ribs down, stacking your abs, almost like you're doing a slight crunch, but at the same time tilting your pelvis under. You feel that nice big stretch up your quads. You can pull your shoulder blades back down and together, feeling that nice stretch down the anterior delts. That's basically just the front of your shoulder, maybe even a little bit of bicep. Again, we're trying to avoid any excessive arch of the lower back. We're just holding this stretch. Glutes might start to get a bit tired, that's fine. Let's go from here into a half kneeling position. So I'm going to go onto my right knee, bring my left leg out front. We're going to do a pelvic tilt of the hips. So we're tucking the tailbone under, drawing the ribs down. We're just gently going to lean forward, feeling the stretch down that kneeling leg, and then return back to that center position. I need to gently lean forward. I want you to imagine you're pulling this heel back that way and pulling that back knee towards your heel and returning back to the center. And that compression force, pulling the heel back and the back knee forwards, will really give you a good pelvic tilt, and you'll feel it nicely down this right hip. We're just gently leaning into it. As you can see, I'm not leaning down here because actually I'm losing a lot of the stretch on my hip there. I'm trying to maintain that pelvic tilt. All I need is a subtle lean forward, but while maintaining good hip position, and I can feel a nice stretch on that hip. Okay, let's do one more. Now, if you can, whilst we're holding this slightly lean forward position, you might get cramp when you try and lift this. You're going to try and lift and hold this. If you can't do that, maybe you want to put your back foot on a sofa or chair, or maybe you just don't hold it at all. You might even want a cushion under that bottom knee. Let's see if you can hold on with 2 hands. So we've got a subtle lean forward, still avoiding any arch of the lower back, feeling a nice hip and quad stretch. You might get a little bit on this hamstring, and that's fine. We're holding the static stretches today for around 5 relaxed breaths. It should be about 30 to 45 seconds, hopefully closer to 45. But just switch when I switch, don't worry too much about it. We're going to release that back leg. Let's switch over. So I'm kneeling on my left knee, got my right leg out in front. I'm going to start off by creating that pelvic tilt, tucking under, drawing the ribs in. And we're going for some just nice subtle lean in and release. This is just a little mini dynamic stretch. Not having to go too far. Maybe you can go further and still keep a nice pelvis position, but it's more about feeling the stretch in the right place rather than just looking like you're going really far. Okay, one more. Probably have one side that's a little tighter than the other. Like I said, don't worry if you can't grab that foot. You could put it up on the sofa, up against a wall, on a chair. Make sure you got something soft under the knee so it's not too painful. Slowing your breathing down. And then slowly releasing. Okay, we're going to move on to some of the upper body now. We're going to do what I call a scorpion stretch, and then we'll go for a little hold as well. So you're going to lie on your front. If you stretch your right arm out to the side and have your left hand bent like you're going to do a press up, we're going to look towards that left hand. I'm going to drop the right shoulder to the floor. I want you to lift your left leg, hook it over your right leg, and just lean into that shoulder and chest stretch on that side. We're not going to hold long because we're going to be switching. So let's switch to the other side. So you're going to stretch your left hand out. I'm going to switch to a press up position with my right hand. I'm going to push. Feel that stretch along the chest, shoulder, bicep. And then we're going to repeat. So we're going to do 5 per side. There's 1. 2. 3. 4. Now as you come over to this right side, we're actually going to hold this for about 5 breaths. So stay on this side now. Taking it over to the left side. Gently pushing off that right hand, letting the weight, the right leg drop over. One more breath. I think you can stay on your side now, so I want you to lie on one side. I'm going to lie on my right side, but it doesn't matter which one you start with. You're going to put your bottom arm out straight like this. We're just going to do a nice simple quad stretch. If you take the top leg, hold on probably just below your ankle onto your foot, and then you're going to draw your knees together engage your glutes and feel that quad stretch. If you're finding it uncomfortable in your lower back, maybe you could just bend the knee of the bottom leg, and that'll just take a little bit of the arch out of your back. Again, we're trying to engage the glute on the foot, on the leg of the foot that you're holding. Feeling that quad stretch, almost like you're glute bridging forward, so you're pushing your hip forwards, but at the same time maintaining some core tension and glute tension. We're just doing this as a static stretch. This is the same as the classic stretch you see standing up, but you don't have to hop around trying to balance for it. Let's take one more breath. Okay, let's take it to the other side. So your bottom arm's out straight. Take the foot, the top leg. If you're finding it uncomfortable in your lower back, you can just bend that bottom knee slightly. Draw the hips forward. Pull the knee backwards. Feeling that stretch. So you're almost pushing your pockets forwards, whilst at the same time pulling the knee back. Keeping some core tension, keeping some glute tension, feeling that quad stretch. If you find it more comfortable, you can put a pillow under your head. Ideally, you'd let your knees close down closer together rather than have it up there. Depends how tight you are. One more breath. Okay, let's finish with some tabletop into a static stretch. So with your tabletops, wanting to put your hands behind you, you can put your hands flat like that, or on your knuckles, or if you've got wrist straps or parallettes to make it more comfortable, you can do that. We're going to bend the feet, put the feet flat on the floor. We're going to rise the hips up, tuck the ribs down and in, tuck the glutes up and under, and then you're going to sit back down onto the floor. If you need to release your hands for a second, that's fine. So you're going to draw up, squeeze 2 to 3 seconds at the top, and back down. You don't have to release your hands, it's just if your wrists need a break. Drawing back up. As we're drawing up, we want to pin the shoulder blades together. Nice proud chest. Glutes tuck under, ribs tuck in. Going to make a nice tabletop position. Coming down. As you can see, I'm doing it on my knuckles. So that's just to save my wrists. But you can do it on your palms if you're more comfortable. Keep glute bridging through this. Holding the shoulder blades back. Feeling that nice stretch on the shoulders. Or maybe it doesn't feel nice, but it's still a good stretch. Let's do one more tabletop, and then we'll finish with our final static stretch. I realise this is not a comfortable position, but it's a good one for improving your flexibility, and it gets easier with practice. So sitting your hips down, you should be able to keep your hands roughly where they are, but what we're going to do is we're going to creep your hips forwards, increasing the stretch on those shoulders and bicep. Keep creeping forwards. I don't want you to sink under like this though. I want you to keep a relatively proud chest and a neutral back position. I can feel that down the biceps, down the shoulders, a little bit on the chest if I elevate the chest up. If you've got more space, you can just keep creeping the hips forwards. And that's it, that's the session complete. This is actually a workout within a 30 workout 6-week series. So here's the next one in the series if you're on that. If you want to see more of my mobility routines, I'll put a playlist of them here. Hit the thumbs up button, comment below where in the world are you following along from and how did you find that routine, and I'll see you again soon.